You know that feeling, right? You're reading along, everything's going great, and then bam, you hit this giant monster of a word that just stops you dead in your tracks. It is so frustrating, and trust me, we've all been there. Well, in this explainer, we're going to change that for good. Okay, so take a word like this one, hypnotize. I mean, look at it. It looks pretty intimidating, doesn't it? It's exactly the kind of word that makes you think, you know what, I'm just going to skip this whole sentence. So if you've ever felt totally stumped by a word like that, you are definitely not alone. But what if I told you there's a system for this? A kind of secret code that once you learn it can help you read pretty much any word you find. And here's the thing, the secret is not about memorizing thousands of words. No way. It's about learning how to, well, deconstruct them, to take them apart into these simple, predictable little building blocks. And those blocks, they're called syllables. And today, you and we're going to crack this code together. So let's get into it. Turns out, every single one of those big, complex words is really just built from a handful of simple parts. The best way to think about it is like they're made from architectural blueprints. And get this, most English syllables follow just one of 4 main patterns. All right, here are the big 4. You've got the consonant-vowel-consonant pattern. We'll just call it CVC. Then there's the VCE pattern, the open syllable, and finally that special consonant-L syllable. These 4 blueprints, they're basically the keys to our entire decoding toolkit. Okay, check this out. It's amazing how one tiny change can make a huge difference. So you have the word scrap, right? That's a classic CVC syllable, and it has that short ah sound, ah. But watch what happens when we just add a silent E to the end. Bam! It transforms into a VCE syllable, and that vowel magically becomes a long A sound. Scrap turns into scrape. That silent E is a seriously powerful little letter. All right, next up is the open syllable. And honestly, this one's super simple. It's just a syllable that ends in a single vowel. That's it. And when it does, that vowel usually says its name. It makes a long sound. Think about the re in retirement, or the u in utilize, or even the ru in unruly. Okay, this is where it all clicks. This is where you can really see how those simple blueprints come together to build big words. I mean, look at retirement. It's just an open syllable, a VCE, and a CVC all snapped together. Or embezzle. That's just 2 CVCs and that final CLE pattern. Suddenly, these long words, they don't seem so scary anymore, do they? They're basically just built out of Legos. Okay, so we've got our blueprints. Now we need our second tool. And I like to call this one the spotlight. See, in every word that has more than one syllable, one part gets all the emphasis. It gets the spotlight. And the technical term for this is syllable stress. And to see just how much this matters, let's try a quick experiment. Try saying this name out loud. Christopher. Christopher. It just sounds wrong, doesn't it? And that's because the spotlight is totally in the wrong place. Of course, we all know the name is Christopher. The stress, the spotlight, falls right on that first syllable. And getting that stress right is absolutely crucial. It's what makes the word sound right, and it's how we recognize it when someone else says it. Let's just look at a couple more. We don't say gentlemen, right? We say gentlemen. It's not unruly, it's unruly. Just listening for where that natural emphasis falls, that is a huge, huge part of cracking the code. All right, so we have our blueprints and we have our spotlight. Now it's time for our final and maybe the most important tool in the box. I like to call it the secret vowel. This one little sound explains so much of the confusion in English spelling, and it's called the schwa. So the schwa, which we write with this little upside-down E symbol, is this really soft, neutral, kind of lazy sound, like And here is the absolute key, the secret. It only ever shows up in the syllables that are not in the spotlight, the unstressed ones. Seriously, this one rule alone explains so much about why English spelling can feel so weird. Just look at how this works. In the word about, the stress is on bout, right? So that A at the beginning gets lazy and becomes a schwa, about. Now look at upon. The stress is on pon. So the U at the beginning becomes that exact same lazy schwa sound, upon. We've got different letters, an A and a U, making the exact same sound, all because they're in the unstressed part of the word. Understanding this is a total game changer. Okay, so theory is great, but let's actually put this into practice. We've got our blueprints, we've got our spotlight, and we know about the secret schwa vowel. Now it's time to combine everything and really tackle a word using a clear, step-by-step strategy. So here it is, the 5-step strategy that puts all our tools to work. Step 1, always check the context of the sentence. Step 2, look for chunks you already know, like prefixes or suffixes. Step 3, divide the rest of the word into syllables using our blueprints. Step 4, be a little flexible, try out different sounds and stress patterns. And finally, step 5, reread the whole sentence to make sure it sounds right. All right, let's grab our target word. This one comes from a reading passage, polluting. Now, for this to work, let's just pretend we have never ever seen this word before, and we're going to apply our strategy. Okay, step 2, look for chunks. And right away, that ing at the end should just jump out at you. It's a super common suffix. So let's just pull that off and set it aside for a second. Now we're left with a much more manageable root word, pollute. Okay, on to step 3, divide the root. We see 2 consonants, that double L, sitting right there between the 2 vowels. And the general rule is to just split the word right between them. So that gives us Paul and Lut. Now for step 4, where we identify our blueprints. The first part, Paul, that's a classic CVC pattern, right? So we get a short O sound, Paul. Now the second part, Lut, looks like a CVC too. But wait, we know that ing was added, and a lot of the time that means a silent E got dropped. So the original syllable was probably lute, a VCE pattern, which would give us a long U sound. Okay, last step, we reassemble the pieces. We've got Paul, lute, ing, put it all together, polluting, polluting. Now we plug it back into the sentence to check. Toxins are polluting the land, and yeah, that makes perfect sense. We did it. We cracked it. And that right there, that's the real takeaway. You now have the whole system. It's not magic, it's just a logical process. By learning to see a word's structure, its blueprints, its stress, its secret sounds, you've literally gained the power to take apart and pronounce words you have never even seen before. You have officially cracked the code. So from now on, when you see one of those long, intimidating words, don't just skip it. See it as a puzzle that you know how to solve. Break it down piece by piece, because now you have the tools. The only question left is, what word are you going to decode next?